Hello, everybody. This is Sparkle.Sanctuary, and
Dip in time.
we are here to. This is the first part of the monthly mental health musings. This week, we plan on talking about. Oh my gosh, my brain just had a brain fart. We're talking about self-care and taking care of yourself and your mental health, especially during these hard times of the season for certain people in certain areas of the world. So we just kind of wanted to talk about some of that. Part one will be on my channel, and then make sure that you're following along for part two on Rhonda's channel.
Sounds good.
All
I
right.
really like this topic.
I do too. This is a really hard time of year for a lot of people. And if whether it be I'm sorry, I'm going to fix my lighting a little bit. I should have done that before. Whether it be because, some people are very lonely. Some people don't have family. Some people have experienced loss. There's grief. There's a lot of different things that go along with the holidays. Every country is experiencing some form of holiday around this time. And so, yeah, I think it's kind of important to make sure that we are taking care of ourselves and doing what's best for, not obviously keeping other people's health and well-being in mind, but taking care of ourselves in that process.
Yes. What they say is you can't give from a cup that is empty.
That is right.
And it also is quite common that we think that self-care is selfish. But is it really? I don't think so.
When you're on an airplane, they say to put the mask on yourself before you put it on anybody else. I don't think it's selfish. I think it depends on the level that you go to and how much time you're taking for you and whether or not it impacts the people around you. That makes it whether or not it's selfish.
Yeah, the intention of it.
Yes.
Right? And the reason why I say intention is because sometimes we may need more time for us than we thought we did. And it's
or
yeah.
Or it could mean that we may need more time for us than other people want us to take.
Ooh, yes. Yes. So when we talk about self-care, I think what Rebecca just said was really good, because sometimes we define what self-care is for us based off of what others expect.
That is so true. And so I think maybe we can talk about, I don't know exactly where my thoughts were on this. It's hard to decide when you should take time for yourself, but I just kind of want to put it out there. Like recently, I was telling Rhonda a little while ago that recently I've taken a little bit of space on my YouTube channel. This is a hard holiday season, and there's been a lot of things going on at work, and then this is a hard season just because of loss and grief, and then there's all kinds of stuff going around the world that is just confusing or scary, or whatever that may be for anybody that is experiencing any of these emotions, because all emotions are okay and they're valid. And I think it's really important that we take time to validate our own emotions. And, if we need to take a step back to give ourselves time to recuperate, then we should feel it's okay to do that. And I love engaging with people on my channel, but I haven't been posting lately because I've been struggling, and I don't necessarily feel like anybody should have to see me struggling. And I want my channel, I was saying to Rhonda, I want my channel to be a safe space, and I want people to feel comfortable here. And if I'm struggling, then, I don't feel like that makes it as safe of a space. And so just trying to navigate all of that and making sure that, we're all very cognizant and mindful that we are, when we have our own needs, we can, when you're when you're starting to feel stressed or burnout and you're wanting to withdraw, or you feel like you're not finding your people in that moment, or whatever it is, it's happening. You can feel it coming on. And I spent a significant amount of time not doing the kinds of things that I enjoy doing as much. And so that's when I realized I was feeling some kind of frustration or unhappiness just in my own personal life with everything going on, and decided that I needed just to take some time to recuperate, refine myself, and then come back to it when I was ready.
And I want to say good on you for identifying it, acknowledging it, and then allowing yourself that space.
Well, and I know it's hard. The emotions and feelings that we have, especially when there's holidays involved, they're hard to navigate. Like, a lot of people aren't trained. They've never been through therapy. They've never taken mental health courses. They've never experienced how to healthily recognize your emotions and the things that you're feeling. And so I think it's really hard when you don't take a moment for yourself and step back and say, I'm having a hard time. What do I need to make this better? And it's incredibly difficult to see those moments, and then not only see them, recognize them, do something about it, but also not feel guilty about it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not necessarily, I know for me, I'm okay, I'm okay, I'm okay, and then I'm not okay. Because I'm so
Yes.
focused on pushing through that I don't recognize how I'm feeling before I'm like, I'm done. Get away from me.
Yeah. Yes.
But I think too, one thing I'm working on is when I am at that spot where I need time for myself, is to go, right, what do I need? What do I want? Versus just get through it. Just push past it, fix it.
Because we're
And I
never.
know.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, when I was growing up, it was like there was only certain emotions that were appropriate. And and if you were not at that stage, it was like, well, change it. And to your point of, well, how do I change it? Just change it. And the only way I knew how was being busy, by focusing on something else or someone else.
Or suppressing.
Yeah. Numbing.
Yes. And I think that's the most toxic and unhealthy. And that's what I was going to say is, I think we have a tendency as humans to really suppress our own needs, especially when we're caring and empathetic people. We like to people please. Not everybody, because not everybody has that level of empathy, but a lot of people do. And then I think we get caught up in that, and then we don't allow ourselves to process and feel and do. And then we find ourselves years down the road in an unhealthy place, doing unhealthy things and not understanding why.
Yeah. And that gets into those unhealthy habits.
Yeah.
And, unhealthy habits aren't just drinking or smoking or doing drugs or, sex. It can be overworking, overextending, overanalyzing to the point where you're burning yourself out. Someone was telling me that I was self-harming. I'm like, I don't cut. I don't do this. I don't do that. Like, no. And they're like, but you're overextending yourself, putting yourself in situations where you are trying to rescue and fix things that are not within your control.
That's a very good point.
Ew, I didn't read that part of it. So
It can also be withdrawing and disengaging, um,
Isolating.
isolating. Yeah, all of that, those are all very toxic behaviors that really cause us to lose sight and lose hope. And those kinds of things you know, can perpetuate depression and anxiety. Um, and I'm not saying all depression and anxiety because diagnosed mental health disorders are not on this. I'm saying for people who don't have general depression and it's maybe situational moment where you're needing assistance, it can cause
Yeah.
depression. I want to make sure I clarify that because
Yeah.
if you have if you have truly suffer from depression, that's a very different thing from moments when you are struggling in your life and you're sad because that's normal. Normal is moments in your life when you're sad. When you need help and it's beyond your control, that's a very different thing. And so I want to make sure to clarify that because
Yeah.
I've had a diagnosis of depression before and been on medication, and having somebody minimize my feeling by saying that self-isolating is the reason I'm depressed would have sent me into a tailspin. And I don't want anybody to ever feel like I don't recognize clinical depression is a very real thing and it's insanely hard to come out of. So when we're talking about these things, please know that that is not what we're addressing in this moment.
Yeah. Absolutely. We are not here as trained therapists to diagnose, treat. This is more of a general conversation from our own experiences, just so we have a safe space to have a conversation and not feel alone.
Yes. Well, and not only that, but if you're a person that has ever experienced extreme, like moments, and I'm not talking about long term, but moments of fairly extreme sadness, it's hard to navigate because, they're like, oh, well, you're just sad, get over it. And because it happens to everybody in the sadness realm, right? And
Yep.
if you can't even talk to people about why you're sad or the fact that, maybe you're still sad about something that happened 4 years ago, maybe you're not sad every moment, but you're sad periodically. And then people expect you to be over it by now. That's not how things work. Your brain goes back and it goes through cycles. That's grief is cycles. And I think people get dismissed a lot. And I don't want anybody to ever feel like, they can't openly have a conversation about things that are bothering them.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, what kind
So
of things do you do to help you? What's in your arsenal for self care?
for me
What is self care
personally,
for you?
um, it depends on the situation. I do love window shopping. And so sometimes it depends because if I'm in a place where I'm feeling like I really just need something, um, if I go shopping and I can't buy, then it actually makes me feel worse just because I'm like, well, I get these thoughts in my mind that I must not be good enough because I don't have the money or whatever. And I don't ever want to go down that realm. So I kind of take a moment and take stock of what it is I need in that moment. There have been times when just I did have a little bit of money and going shopping did help me. Now, shopping, retail therapy is really not a healthy way to deal with your mental health unless you are fully aware that that's exactly what you're doing and you're in control of it. Most people don't have that. So please don't think that I'm saying that this is what you should do because generally it's not a good idea. And I do it very, very, very rarely, like maybe once every 5 years. Um, so that's something that I have done in the past. I did let it get it out of control at one point, so I don't recommend it. But in general, now I try to make sure that I have somebody that I can count on that I can speak with and talk to about what it is that I'm feeling. I actually take time to process what I'm dealing with, whether it be with somebody else or by myself. I definitely give myself space to sit down and say, okay, what is it that I'm feeling right now? What is it that I'm needing right now? And how can I help myself in this situation? Is there anything that I need to ask help for? And I think that's the biggest one. I'm really bad about asking for help. And so working on myself to make sure that I ask for help when I need it is a pretty big deal.
I would agree with you with that one. I actually have a hard time using the word I need help, because for me it feels like I'm giving my power away.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I like to try and use assist. Can you assist me? I need your assistance, because it feels more collaborative, and that I'm not completely useless, that I
That's a
can't
really good
figure this
idea.
out. But yeah, because I know for me, when growing up, it was like you help other people, you solve, you just fix it for yourself.
Yeah.
And you know, asking for help was frowned upon. And it's really hard. So my question, Rebecca, is, have you always been able to figure out what you need?
No. No, I'm 45 and it's only been in the last probably 5 years that I've been able to do that. But I also had some really, really, really unhealthy relationships that stunted my growth, and was also in a situation that caused me to have such severe depression for such an extended period that I was diagnosed with major depressive disorder and put on medication for a very long time, and only discovered later it was because of um, the level of abuse I was experiencing in my relationship. And once I was able to get away from that, I was able to correct that, but it definitely stunted my growth and my process and understanding, and made it really hard for me to know and understand my emotions, things that I learned in my late 30s. I would have and typically should have learned in my 20s. Um, so it's been a very long road, and it's taken a lot of enlightenment, like a lot of soul searching and learning about myself and what it is that I need, taking time to learn who I am and what makes me happy. Taking time to really spend time with myself. I know a lot of people hate being alone, but I have definitely learned to love my alone time. In fact, now I specifically will request alone time because I love it so much. And it definitely helps me ground myself and grow in knowledge of myself and what it is that I need. And I think that's a really big one. Like, you shouldn't self isolate. There's a difference between self-isolating to withdraw from people, to, um, you know, to not find your path. But when you're able to recognize that you need time to yourself to focus on what your needs are so that you can be a better person and heal, that's different. And needs to happen, I think. And a lot of people don't recognize that. I think there's so many people afraid of being alone that they don't take that time.
You made a comment, and I think it's a really good comment, and I just want to expand on it when you talk about how you don't want to be alone. Being alone can be whatever length you want. It's not a permanent state. So sometimes when people say you want to be alone, you can be alone forever. No, this is just in this moment. I need me time.
Yeah.
It's not a final decision of, no, I don't want anybody around me. It's just, and it's not, I don't want anybody around me. I still love you guys. It's just, I need space. I need a different environment.
And that's a good word for it, space. And it's not isolation. It's just taking a time for that space so that you can work on the things that you are needing. I think that's a good one. Good phrasing for it.
Well, and the space can look
So
different. It doesn't have to be the exact same space each time either.
Exactly. You're right. Yeah. That's a valid point. So I'm going to ask you, well, we're about at the 20-minute marker. So what I
Okay.
think we should do is pause here and switch it over to your channel. And on your channel, we can look and we can talk about like what the things that you do.
That sounds
Since you asked
really
me
good.
the steps that I take. All right. So I'm going to say, like I said, please subscribe to Rhonda's channel. She's really great. Great person. She's currently working on an event, and it's going really well. And I'm really proud of you, Rhonda. And so, yeah, if you go over and follow her channel, and part 2 will be over there. So we will see you on Rhonda's channel. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.
See you soon.